The holidays are a time of tradition, family, and food, lots of food. But over the decades, some of the dishes that once graced holiday tables have slowly faded into obscurity. In today's video, we're diving deep into 20 holiday foods that have disappeared forever. From retro salads to elaborate desserts, these culinary treasures were once staples of festive feasts. What caused their decline? Number 1. Molded Jell-O salads. Molded Jell-O salads were an iconic part of mid-20th century American holiday meals, especially from the 1950s to the 1970s. These gelatin-based dishes were not only colorful, but often considered a creative expression in the kitchen. Housewives would take pride in creating intricate molds using gelatin to suspend ingredients such as fruits, vegetables, and even meats within a glossy, wobbly frame. Common fillings included canned pineapple, cherries, and even marshmallows for sweeter versions, while more savory variations featured items like olives or celery. The popularity of these salads was driven by convenience foods and the rise of processed products in post-war America. Jell-O's vibrant colors and the ability to mold it into eye-catching shapes made it a visual centerpiece for holiday tables. In an era when presentation was highly valued, molded Jell-O salads stood out for their aesthetic appeal. However, tastes started to change by the late 1970s, with a shift toward fresher and less processed foods. The texture of Jell-O, which had once been an exciting novelty, began to lose its appeal to more health-conscious consumers. The growth of food awareness, combined with the rise of new culinary trends, led to the gradual disappearance of these salads from the holiday repertoire. Despite this, molded Jell-O salads still hold a nostalgic place in the hearts of many who grew up during that era. Number 2. Plum pudding. Plum pudding, also known as Christmas pudding, is a traditional British dessert deeply rooted in festive celebrations dating back to medieval times. Despite its name, the dish contains no actual plums. The term plum was historically used to refer to dried fruits, particularly raisins and currants, which are key ingredients in the pudding. This dense, dark dessert is made by combining suet, animal fat, breadcrumbs, sugar, and a variety of dried fruits, along with spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. The mixture is moistened with eggs and often doused in alcohol, such as brandy or rum, to help preserve it. One distinctive feature of plum pudding is that it was traditionally prepared weeks or even months in advance. The longer it matured, the richer and more flavorful it became. Families would often steam the pudding for hours before serving, ensuring it achieved the perfect consistency. For added drama, plum pudding was typically set aflame before being brought to the table, a practice that involved pouring brandy over the top and igniting it. It was customary to hide small silver coins or charms inside the pudding, bringing an element of fortune-telling, as each trinket symbolized luck or prosperity for the finder. Plum pudding's time-intensive preparation and rich, heavy nature have contributed to its decline in popularity. While it was once a staple at Christmas feasts, modern households have shifted toward lighter, easier-to-prepare desserts. Despite this, in some parts of the UK, plum pudding remains a cherished part of the holiday tradition, often passed down through generations. Number 3. Ambrosia Salad. Ambrosia salad is a dessert with deep roots in southern U.S. holiday traditions, often found on tables at Thanksgiving and Christmas. The dish, whose name means food of the gods, was a symbol of indulgence and luxury in the mid-20th century. It typically consists of a combination of canned fruits such as mandarin oranges, pineapple, and maraschino cherries, all mixed with a creamy base made from whipped cream, sour cream, or even mayonnaise in some versions. Shredded coconut was almost always included, giving the salad a tropical flavor, while marshmallows added a soft, chewy texture. Pecans or other nuts were often mixed in for a crunchy contrast, and some variations added bananas or grapes to give it even more sweetness and texture. The simplicity and versatility of ambrosia salad made it a staple for large family gatherings, as it required little preparation and could easily be made in advance. Its vivid colors and sweet, creamy taste made it especially appealing to children, often taking center stage on dessert tables. Over time, however, as tastes shifted toward lighter and healthier foods, Ambrosia Salad's reliance on canned fruit and heavy creams contributed to its decline in popularity. It has largely been replaced by fresher, more modern salads or desserts. Despite this, Ambrosia Salad remains a nostalgic dish for many, evoking memories of family celebrations and simpler times. Number 4. Eggnog Pie. Eggnog Pie is a holiday dessert that brings together the rich, creamy flavors of traditional eggnog in pie form. Popularized in the mid-20th century, it was an ideal way to transform the beloved holiday drink into a dessert centerpiece. The pie filling typically includes eggs, sugar, cream, nutmeg, and often a splash of rum or brandy to mimic the classic eggnog flavor. The mixture is baked until set, resulting in a smooth, custard-like consistency. A buttery, flaky crust, often made with shortbread or graham crackers, provides a perfect textural contrast to the creamy filling. The dessert became especially popular in the 1950s and 60s, when gelatin-based pies and no-bake options became a trend. Its festive presentation, often topped with whipped cream and a sprinkle of nutmeg, made it a favorite at holiday gatherings. However, as tastes evolved and lighter, more health-conscious options became the norm. Eggnog pie faded from holiday tables. Today, while less common, it remains a nostalgic treat for those who remember its rich flavor and holiday charm. Number 5. Divinity. Divinity is a classic Southern confection that was once a staple during holiday gatherings, known for its light, airy texture and delicate sweetness. Made primarily from sugar, corn syrup, and whipped egg whites, this candy closely resembles nougat, though it has a more cloud-like consistency. The mixture is typically flavored with vanilla, and in some cases, nuts like pecans or walnuts are folded in for added texture. Achieving the perfect divinity requires precision. The sugar syrup must be cooked to the right temperature, and the weather plays a significant role, as humidity can ruin the candy's texture, making it sticky instead of fluffy. The candy's name, Divinity, likely stems from its heavenly taste and texture, as it seems to melt in the mouth. While once commonly made at home, its delicate preparation process has caused it to decline in popularity. In the past, families would gather in the kitchen to make large batches of Divinity, often working together to stir the mixture by hand before electric mixers became widespread. However, as quicker and more convenient holiday treats became available, Divinity fell out of favor, though it remains a nostalgic memory for many who grew up with this seasonal delicacy. Number 6. Ribbon candy. Ribbon candy is a traditional holiday treat that dates back to the 19th century, known for its bright colors and intricate curled designs. It was originally handmade by skilled confectioners who stretched and shaped the candy while it was still warm and pliable. The process required precision, as the candy had to be pulled into thin ribbons and then carefully twisted or folded into its iconic shape. Ribbon candy was often flavored with peppermint, cinnamon, or clove, which added to its festive appeal. The delicate nature of ribbon candy made it both a decorative and edible treat, often used as part of Christmas displays or hung as ornaments on holiday trees. In many households, it was a symbol of craftsmanship and care, representing the artistry of candy making during a time when sweets were often handmade rather than mass-produced. However, as candy production became more industrialized in the mid-20th century, the labor-intensive method of making ribbon candy fell out of favor. Its fragility also made it difficult to store and transport, leading to its decline in popularity as easier to make and more durable candies, such as chocolate, took over. Today, ribbon candy is still produced, but mainly as a nostalgic treat, available in specialty stores during the holiday season. Number 7. Holiday Spice Cake. Holiday Spice Cake was a festive dessert that encapsulated the warm, comforting flavors of the season. This cake, often made during the colder months, was spiced with a combination of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and sometimes ginger, creating a rich aroma that filled kitchens and dining rooms. Key ingredients typically included molasses or dark brown sugar, which gave the cake its deep, earthy sweetness. The use of buttermilk or applesauce in some recipes ensured a moist texture, while additions like chopped nuts, raisins, or candied ginger enhanced its complexity. What made holiday spice cake special was its versatility. It could be enjoyed plain, but many bakers would top it with a glaze made from caramel or cream cheese, or even dust it with powdered sugar for a more elegant presentation. Paired with tea or coffee, it was often served as an afternoon treat or at the end of a holiday meal. As holiday menus evolved, simpler or more elaborate desserts took its place, and the once beloved spice cake began to fade from popularity. Despite this, the cake's nostalgic connection to wintertime gatherings remains, and some families continue the tradition of baking it during the holidays. Number 8, Tom and Jerry Cocktail. The Tom and Jerry cocktail is a classic holiday drink with origins dating back to the early 19th century, created by British writer Piers Egan. Unlike its cold counterpart, eggnog, the Tom and Jerry is served hot, making it a perfect choice for chilly winter evenings. The drink is built around a batter made from whipped egg whites and yolks, sugar and spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. The batter is then mixed with hot milk, or water, and spiked with rum and brandy, resulting in a warm, frothy concoction that is rich, creamy, and slightly boozy. The preparation of the Tom and Jerry requires some effort, as the batter must be made fresh and kept warm. The drink was particularly popular in the Midwest and Northeastern United States during the mid-20th century, especially around Christmas and New Year's Eve gatherings. It was often served in special Tom and Jerry mugs, further emphasizing its seasonal, festive nature. Over time, the labor-intensive nature of preparing the cocktail led to its decline, with many opting for the easier-to-make eggnog. Despite this, Tom and Jerry still holds nostalgic value for many and continues to be a holiday tradition in some regions of the U.S. Number 9. Sugar plums. Sugar plums are not made from plums, as the name might suggest, but rather a type of candy that dates back to the 16th century. The original sugar plums were a type of comfit, a candy made by coating seeds or nuts in layers of sugar. The process was labor-intensive, requiring a series of boiling and cooling sugar syrups around small pieces like caraway seeds, almonds, or cardamom. These small round candies became known as sugar plums and were popular during the holiday season, often mentioned in poems and songs, such as the famous line in The Night Before Christmas. By the 19th century, the definition of sugar plums expanded to include dried fruits like apricots, figs, or raisins, mixed with spices and rolled in sugar. These fruit-based confections were simpler to make at home and became a popular addition to Christmas traditions. Their colorful, jewel-like appearance added to their appeal, making them a decorative as well as an edible treat. Over time, mass-produced sweets became more popular, and the elaborate process of making sugar plums by hand faded into obscurity. Today, sugar plums are rare, mostly surviving as a nostalgic reference in holiday lore, rather than a common Christmas treat. Number 10. Corn pudding. Corn pudding is a traditional American dish with roots dating back to early Native American and colonial times. It was originally created as a way to make the most of the plentiful corn harvest. The dish combines both whole kernel corn and creamed corn, mixed with eggs, milk, butter, and often sugar, resulting in a creamy custard-like texture. Flour or cornmeal is sometimes added to thicken the dish, sweet and savory. Corn pudding strikes a balance that made it a versatile side dish for holiday meals, particularly in the South, where it became a staple at Thanksgiving and Christmas feasts. The simplicity of corn pudding's preparation made it accessible for many generations of home cooks. It is typically baked in a casserole dish, with the top forming a slightly crispy layer while the inside remains moist and tender. Historically, corn pudding was favored for its adaptability. It could complement a variety of meats, from turkey to ham, and served as a comforting dish in the colder months. Despite its historical popularity, corn pudding has gradually fallen out of favor, as more modern and diverse holiday side dishes have taken its place. However, it remains a nostalgic recipe in many Southern households, where it is still passed down through generations. Number 11. Popcorn Garland. Popcorn garlands were a simple yet charming holiday tradition that became popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. They were primarily used to decorate Christmas trees, adding a homemade, rustic touch to holiday decor. Families would gather together to thread plain, air-popped popcorn onto long strands of string or thread. Cranberries or other dried fruits were often interspersed between the popcorn to add pops of color, making the garland more festive. Popcorn garlands were not only a decorative project, but also a bonding activity for families. The repetitive task of threading the popcorn gave children and adults an opportunity to work together while preparing for the holidays. The practice likely originated in rural America, where natural and inexpensive materials were commonly used for decorations. One of the appeals of popcorn garlands was their eco-friendly nature. After the holidays, the garlands could be hung outside for birds and wildlife to eat, turning the decoration into a wintertime treat for animals. However, with the rise of modern store-bought ornaments and tinsel, this handmade tradition slowly faded from mainstream holiday decorating practices. Number 12. Cranberry Relish. Cranberry relish is a tangy, fresh alternative to the smooth, jellied cranberry sauce commonly seen on holiday tables. Unlike its canned counterpart, cranberry relish is made from whole, raw cranberries, often mixed with citrus fruits like oranges or lemons for added zest. The cranberries are typically chopped or ground, giving the dish a chunky, textured consistency. Sugar is usually added to balance the tartness of the cranberries, but the amount can be adjusted based on taste preferences, resulting in either a sweet or more tart relish. Historically, cranberry relish was a popular accompaniment to Thanksgiving and Christmas meals in the early 20th century, especially when fresh cranberries were abundant in the fall. Its bright color and bold flavor provided a refreshing contrast to the rich, savory dishes typically served during the holidays, like turkey or ham. Some recipes also include nuts, apples, or spices like cinnamon to enhance the flavor. Cranberry relish became less common as pre-made canned cranberry sauces gained popularity due to their convenience. However, homemade cranberry relish is still cherished by those who prefer a fresh, vibrant twist to their holiday meals. Number 13. Chestnut Stuffing. Chestnut stuffing, once a luxurious and beloved holiday dish, has roots that trace back centuries to European cuisine, where chestnuts were a prized ingredient in festive meals. The combination of roasted chestnuts with savory ingredients like onions, celery, and herbs, mixed with breadcrumbs or crumbled cornbread, made for a rich and hearty stuffing. Chestnuts brought a distinct sweetness and soft, buttery texture that complemented the earthy flavors of turkey or other roasted meats traditionally served during the holidays. The preparation of chestnut stuffing was labor-intensive, particularly when chestnuts were harvested fresh. Roasting and peeling the chestnuts required skill and patience, but the reward was a dish with a unique depth of flavor. Chestnuts were often combined with ingredients like sausage, mushrooms, or apples, adding layers of complexity to the stuffing. Chestnut stuffing was a popular choice for holiday feasts in the 19th and early 20th centuries in both the U.S. and Europe. However, as commercial bread stuffing mixes became more convenient, the traditional chestnut variety gradually faded from common holiday menus. Despite this, it remains a cherished recipe for those seeking a more refined, old-world dish to celebrate the season. Number 14. Gingerbread Houses. Gingerbread houses have a rich history, dating back to 16th century Germany, where they were inspired by the Brothers Grimm's tale of Hansel and Gretel. The tradition of building and decorating these edible structures became especially popular during the holiday season, combining craftsmanship, creativity, and sweet treats. The construction of gingerbread houses involves using a sturdy gingerbread dough, spiced with ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. This dough is baked into panels that are later assembled into walls and roofs using royal icing, a thick, sugary mixture that acts as glue. Once assembled, the decorating process begins. Families often use candy canes, gumdrops, and colorful candies to adorn their gingerbread houses, creating festive and unique designs. The activity is not just about the finished product, but also about the process itself, with families and children gathering to enjoy the holiday spirit together. While gingerbread houses have remained popular, the tradition has shifted from making them from scratch to using pre-made kits available in stores. These kits simplify the process, providing pre-baked components and decorations, which is convenient for modern, busy families. However, homemade gingerbread houses still hold sentimental value for many, offering a creative and nostalgic holiday experience. Number 15. Candied Orange Peels. Candied orange peels are a traditional holiday treat known for their vibrant flavor and striking appearance. The process of making them involves simmering orange peels in a sugar syrup until they become tender and translucent. Once coated in sugar, the peels develop a crystallized outer layer while retaining a chewy, citrusy interior. Historically, candied orange peels were considered a luxurious treat due to the effort and time involved in making them, as well as the cost of imported oranges during colder months in Europe. They were often served as a simple sweet on holiday tables or given as gifts, sometimes dipped in dark chocolate for added decadence. The bright, refreshing citrus flavor cut through the richness of heavier winter desserts, making them a perfect palate cleanser between courses. Additionally, their long shelf life made them ideal for preserving and gifting during the festive season. Though candied orange peels have largely fallen out of favor with modern holiday treat makers, they remain a nostalgic, artisanal confection, often found in specialty shops or prepared by those who enjoy traditional cooking. Their combination of sweet, bitter, and tangy flavors offers a timeless appeal. Number 16. Fruitcake. Fruitcake has a long history as a holiday staple, tracing back to ancient Rome, where preserved fruits and nuts were mixed into dense cakes for durability during long journeys. By the 18th century, fruitcake became associated with Christmas celebrations in Europe and America, symbolizing abundance and festivity. The traditional fruitcake is known for its richness, packed with dried fruits such as raisins, currants, and candied citrus peel, combined with nuts like almonds or walnuts. Spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves are common, giving the cake a warm, festive flavor. A key characteristic of fruitcake is its long shelf life, often achieved by soaking the cake in alcohol, such as rum or brandy. This practice not only enhances the flavor, but also preserves the cake for months or even years. In some traditions, fruitcakes are made weeks in advance and left to age, allowing the flavors to deepen. Despite its enduring history, fruitcake's popularity has waned in recent decades. The dense texture and intense sweetness, once seen as a mark of luxury, are now often regarded as overly heavy by modern palates. Nevertheless, fruitcake remains a nostalgic symbol of holiday tradition, especially for those who continued to make it by hand or pass down family recipes. Number 17, Grasshopper Pie. Grasshopper pie, popularized in the mid-20th century, is a no-bake dessert known for its vibrant green color and refreshing minty flavor. The pie gets its name from the grasshopper cocktail, which features crème de menthe, a mint-flavored liqueur, and crème de cacao, which provides a chocolatey sweetness. These ingredients are folded into a base of whipped cream and marshmallow fluff, creating a light, fluffy filling. The signature green hue comes from the crème de menthe, giving the dessert a distinctive and festive look, especially popular during the holiday season. The filling is typically poured into a chocolate cookie or graham cracker crust, which adds a rich contrast to the minty filling. Some recipes also incorporate a splash of crème de cacao or vodka to enhance the dessert's flavor complexity. Grasshopper pie gained popularity during the 1950s and 1960s as part of the rise of gelatin-based and no-bake desserts that became trendy for their simplicity and unique flavors. Its refreshing taste made it a favorite during hot summer months, as well as during winter festivities, though over time, its popularity faded as more complex desserts became mainstream. Number 18, Mince Pie. Mince pie is a traditional British dessert with roots that date back to the Middle Ages. Originally, mince pies were filled with minced meat, hence the name, along with dried fruits and spices like cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg. These ingredients were a symbol of wealth and luxury, as spices were rare and costly during that period. The pie was often enriched with suet, animal fat, giving it a rich texture and hearty taste. Over time, the inclusion of meat became less common, and the recipe evolved into the sweet pie that we recognize today. Modern mince pies are typically filled with a mixture of dried fruits such as raisins, currants, and sultanas, mixed with spices and sometimes a splash of brandy or rum. The alcohol helps preserve the filling, making it ideal for long-term storage, while also adding a depth of flavor. Traditionally enjoyed during the Christmas season, mince pies have become synonymous with festive celebrations in the UK, though they've become less common in the US today. Despite this, they remain a key part of British holiday traditions and are often baked in small, individual-sized portions. Number 19. Christmas Morning Coffee Cake. Christmas morning coffee cake was once a beloved holiday tradition, often served as a special breakfast treat, while families gathered to open presents. This rich, sweet cake was typically flavored with cinnamon and sugar, and topped with a crumbly streusel made from butter, sugar, and flour. Some variations included chopped nuts, like pecans or walnuts, or dried fruits, such as raisins or cranberries, baked into the batter for added texture and flavor. The combination of warm spices and a soft, moist interior made it a comforting and indulgent way to start the holiday. Coffee cake was especially popular in the mid-20th century, when it became a staple in American households during the holidays, often baked the night before to be ready first thing on Christmas morning. The convenience of this make-ahead dessert, paired with its decadent taste, made it a family favorite. As holiday traditions evolved and new foods emerged, the Christmas morning coffee cake slowly lost its widespread appeal, though it remains a nostalgic dish for many who continue the tradition today. Number 20. Boar's Head. The boar's head was a medieval centerpiece traditionally served during Christmas feasts, particularly in England. It symbolized wealth and power, as boar hunting was considered a noble pursuit reserved for the elite. The dish's preparation was elaborate, beginning with the cleaning and roasting of the head. It was often stuffed with herbs, fruits, and spices like rosemary, cloves, and apples, adding flavor and fragrance. Once cooked, the boar's head was presented with grandeur, typically adorned with a sprig of bay or holly, and sometimes carried into the dining hall to the accompaniment of a song, like the famous Boar's Head carol. This tradition became most prominent during the 15th century and continued into the Tudor era. Its connection to pagan rituals of sacrifice and protection made it a fitting dish for midwinter celebrations. The boar's head also symbolized triumph over adversity, representing the victory of light over darkness during the winter solstice. Although the dish has fallen out of favor in modern times due to changing culinary tastes and the complexity of its preparation, it remains a nostalgic emblem of grand medieval feasts, still occasionally revived in reenactments and historical Christmas celebrations.